Before marrying the woman he loved, a millionaire decided to test her love. He secretly acted like he had lost his businesses and all his wealth, and that he was now poor. But the woman's reaction changed his life forever. What did she do when she thought the rich man had nothing left? Stay with us as this emotional story slowly reveals the shocking truth. It was a bright Saturday morning inside the house of Mr. Kachi, a wealthy businessman. Inside the large living room, Mr. Kachi sat on a couch watching television. Beside him was the woman he wanted to marry, Tarila. She worked at a big company, so she was also doing well for herself. Tarila came to the house the night before. She had come to spend the weekend with him. After a while, she stood up. "Babe, I'll be right back. I want to take a shower," she said. "All right," Kachi said, without looking away from the television. Tarila walked down the hallway toward the bathroom. Few minutes passed. Kachi kept watching the television when he heard a loud knock on the main door. He paused. His eyes moved toward the door. Another knock came, this one firmer than the first. Kachi stood up and walked toward the door. He opened it. Two men stood outside in dark suits. One held a brown envelope. "Good morning, Mr. Kachi," one of them said. Kachi looked at them carefully. "Who are you?" The second man spoke. "We are from the bank." At that moment, Tarila was coming out of the bathroom. She had just finished her shower and was heading back to the living room. She heard voices near the entrance. She stopped. She stayed where she was, watching from a distance. Kachi's face had changed. It was no longer calm. The men handed him the brown envelope. "We are from the bank," one of them said. "Your loan is overdue, and it has now moved into default. We have been sent to recover the property according to the agreement you signed." "We are here because of the loan," one of them said. Kachi opened the envelope. His eyes moved over the papers inside. For a moment, he said nothing. The man continued. "You have 24 hours to vacate this house. The house, your cars, and all listed assets now belong to the bank." Kachi lowered his head. The moment felt heavy. From behind, Tarila could not stay quiet anymore. "What do you mean?" she said, stepping closer beside Kachi. "What do you mean everything belongs to the bank? What is happening here?" The two men looked at her. Kachi raised his hand slightly. "Tarila, please go back," he said. "I will handle it." She stepped back, but her eyes stayed fixed on the men. After a short exchange with Mr. Kachi, the two men had finished delivering their message and left. The door closed behind them. Kachi stood still at the door. His hand rested on it. Tarila walked closer, her face full of confusion. "Sweetheart, what is going on?" she asked. He did not answer at first. She asked again. "Kachi, talk to me. What is happening?" He finally turned. "Come sit," he said. They both walked back to the couch. Tarila sat at the edge of the couch, not fully relaxed. Kachi sat close to her. He looked at her for a long time before speaking. "I've always wanted to tell you about this," he said, "but I didn't know how to say it. I've been worried about how you would react." Tarila leaned closer. "Just say it now," she replied. "What is going on?" Kachi took a breath. "I am bankrupt." Tarila blinked. "Bankrupt? What do you mean by that? What really happened?" Kachi continued. "There was a Chinese company I got in contact with," he said. "They told me they could supply goods at a very low price. At that price, I could make about 3 times more profit than before. It was a good deal." He paused. "At first, I tested them with a small order. It came in. The goods were good. Everything looked fine. Customers loved them. In fact, I sold everything in less than 48 hours. Tarila listened without speaking. After that, I placed another order, this time for a higher amount. The goods came in just like before, and the quality was still very good. I sold everything quickly once again. I was really happy with the progress. So I trusted them," Kachi said. "I came up with an idea to take a very big loan so I could place a larger order and supply my branches across the city. He shook his head slightly. "That was where everything went wrong," he said. "The money is gone. No goods came in, nothing came at all. It was a scam. I later learned that this kind of thing happens to companies like mine," he continued. "They first supply small orders at good prices, even if it means they are adding their own money just to build trust. Then they wait until you make a very large order before they disappear." Tarila's face changed. She stared at him. Kachi continued. "I tried everything I could to fix it. I tried to pay back the loan in different ways. Nothing worked. That is why the bank people came this morning." Silence filled the room. Tarila looked at him closely. Her eyes showed shock, pain, and disbelief. She felt many strong emotions at once. She did not know what to say or how to react. For a moment, it felt like everything had stopped. Then she changed her face and tried to stay strong. She did not want Kachi to break down. She held both of his hands and looked into his eyes. "Kachi," she said, "everything will be fine. Just stay strong. I believe this is just a phase. Things will get better. Life has good times and bad times. This is one of those bad times. But don't give up. You will rise again. The same God who helped you before will help you again." Kachi did not speak. Tarila then asked a quiet question. "So the bank is coming tomorrow to take this house. Where will you stay now? Do you have a plan?" "Honestly, I don't know. I don't have any plan," he answered. Tarila became silent for a moment. She took a deep breath and looked down. Then she spoke. "If you don't mind, you can stay at my place." She looked at him and added, "It is not as big or fancy as this house. I don't even know if you will be comfortable there." Mr. Kachi, who had been looking down, lifted his head and looked at her. His voice became emotional. "I will really appreciate it," he said. "Thank you." "Then let's get your things ready," Tarila said. They both stood up and moved through the house. Kachi packed his clothes into his bags. Tarila helped him as he packed. Very soon, they were done. They carried the suitcase outside. Tarila's car was parked in the compound. They placed the luggage in the trunk. Kachi took one last look at the big house. Then he entered the car. Tarila joined him. The car started moving. Inside the car, there was no conversation, only silence. After a long drive, they arrived at a quiet residential area. Tarila parked in front of a decent apartment building. Kachi stepped out and looked around the compound. He took a deep breath. Then he walked to the trunk and brought out his suitcases. Tarila also came down and helped him. Together, they carried the suitcases into Tarila's apartment. No one spoke much, but something heavy hung in the air. Something that was not fully understood yet. Later that evening, after they had settled into the apartment, Kachi's mind became a little calm. Tarila had been trying all day to make sure he felt better, and it slowly helped him relax. Kachi sat quietly on one of the chairs, staring into the distance. He was lost in thought. Earlier that morning, he had been inside one of the biggest houses in the city. Now, he was sitting in his fiancée's apartment. Life truly changed without warning. Tarila came out from the kitchen carrying 2 glasses of juice. She handed one to Kachi. "Drink something," she said. Kachi took it. "Thank you," he replied. Tarila sat across from him. For a short moment, there was silence between them. It did not feel normal. It carried the weight of fear, uncertainty, and many unanswered questions. Mr. Kachi looked at Tarila again. Then he finally spoke. "Tarila, I honestly don't know how to thank you for everything you are doing for me." His voice carried deep emotion. "To be honest, I was scared to tell you what was happening while everything was falling apart." He looked down briefly. "I kept thinking, what if I lose you too? But you didn't leave me. You stood by me when things became difficult. You opened your home to me without making me feel ashamed." He paused, trying to control his emotions. "Tarila, thank you for staying. Thank you for believing in me when I could not even see clearly myself. I will never forget this." Tarila looked at him. "It's all right," she said. "You don't need to keep thanking me. You are my partner. This is what I am supposed to do." She leaned forward and touched his shoulder. "And listen to me carefully," she added. "Everything will be fine. We are in this together." Those words touched Kachi deeply. For a moment, he just kept looking at her. "Thank you," he said once more. "I will never forget this." Tarila gave a faint smile. "All you need now is focus," she said. "You can still rise again. I believe in you and I'm rooting for you. This is not the end of your life." Kachi gave a weak smile. Tarila watched him quietly. For the first time since morning, she could see how broken he truly looked. Not just because of the money, but because a man who was once respected everywhere suddenly had nothing. 2 days later, Tarila returned from work that evening. The moment she entered the apartment, Kachi walked toward her with a warm smile. "Welcome back," he said. Tarila smiled tiredly. "Thank you." Kachi gently held her hands. "How was work today?" he asked. Tarila let out a small breath and smiled. "It was stressful as usual," she replied, "but I survived." Both of them laughed softly. Then Kachi looked at her with a playful expression. "Guess what?" he said. Tarila narrowed her eyes at him. "You know I'm not good at guessing games," she replied playfully. "Just try," Kachi insisted. Tarila folded her arms dramatically. "No, I refuse." Kachi laughed. "All right then," he said. "I prepared your favorite meal for dinner." Tarila's eyes widened immediately. She covered her mouth in surprise. "What?" she said. "Are you serious? Since when did you start cooking?" Kachi smiled proudly. "Well, I wanted to surprise you, my love. Now go and freshen up while I set the table." Tarila shook her head in amusement. "Okay," she said with a smile. "I can't wait to taste your food." A short while later, both of them sat at the dining table. Tarila took the first spoonful of food. The moment she tasted it, her eyes widened. "What?" she said again. She looked at Kachi in disbelief. "Are you sure you made this yourself?" Kachi laughed. "I did." This is actually very good." Both of them laughed as they continued eating together. The atmosphere in the house felt warm and peaceful. But midway into the meal, Kachi slowly cleared his throat. His expression became serious. "Sweetheart," he said, "while you were at work today, I thought deeply about my situation." Tarila looked at him quietly. "Okay," she said softly. Kachi continued. "You know I'm not the type of man who can sit at home doing nothing." He paused briefly. "So, I have been thinking. I want to start looking for a job." Tarila raised an eyebrow. "A job?" "Yes," Kachi answered. "I will prepare my CV tomorrow and start applying." Tarila stayed quiet for a few seconds before speaking. "Kachi, can I be honest with you?" "Of course," he replied. She adjusted herself on the chair. "It may not work out the way you think." Kachi looked at her carefully. "Most companies are looking for young graduates now. The positions they usually advertise are junior staff positions." She paused briefly before continuing. "You're already over 30. With your level of experience, the kind of position you should apply for is management. And those positions are not easy to find." Kachi listened without interrupting her. Tarila continued, "And even if you get employed as a junior staff member, how much will the salary really be? How long will it take you to save enough money to stand on your feet again?" Kachi leaned back into the chair. Deep down, he knew she was right. Starting from the bottom again would not be easy. "You're right," he admitted. The room became quiet again. Tarila rested her back on the chair as if she was thinking deeply about something. Then she spoke. "Kachi, what if you become a taxi driver for now?" Kachi looked up immediately. "A taxi driver?" "Yes," Tarila replied. "I heard people who do e-hailing rides like Uber make good money every day," she said. "At least, it can help you earn faster while you plan your next move." Most of them even make a lot more than some managers earn in a month. It will help you save faster and also give you time and freedom to think clearly. Then you can raise money and start your own business. Kachi stayed quiet for a moment, taking her words in. Tarila noticed the look on his face. "This is only temporary," she added. "It doesn't mean you're going to be a taxi driver forever." Kachi remained silent. Then Tarila said something that shocked him. "You can use my car." Kachi turned and looked at her immediately. For a moment, he thought he heard wrongly. "Your car?" he asked. "Yes," Tarila answered. She moved closer and placed her hand on his hand. "Sweetheart, your problem is now our problem." Kachi kept staring at her in disbelief. That moment touched him deeply. Many thoughts ran through his mind. He remembered stories of women leaving men the moment they encountered financial problems. But here was Tarila offering him her own car after he had already lost everything. "All you need to do," Tarila continued, "is drop me at work every morning and pick me up in the evening, as long as you're not too far from my office. You can use the car throughout the day." Kachi tried to speak, but he was so emotional that he did not know what to say. I... The words refused to come out properly. Tarila stretched her hand again and held his hands warmly. "It's okay," she said. "Everything will be fine. Very soon there will be enough money for you to start your business again." At that moment, something inside Kachi changed. He looked at Tarila as if he was seeing a completely different side of her, and that side touched him deeply. As planned, Kachi drove Tarila to work that Tuesday morning. The roads were already busy. Inside the car, the atmosphere was quiet. Kachi kept his eyes on the road while Tarila looked at him from time to time. When they finally arrived at the company where Tarila worked, Kachi parked near the entrance. Tarila turned toward him and asked, "You're still going for your Uber vehicle inspection today, right?" "Yes, dear. I've already booked an appointment," he said. "All right, that's good," she replied. "And please don't think too much," she added. "Everything will be fine." Kachi managed to smile a little. "I will try." Tarila stepped out of the car and adjusted her handbag. Kachi waited until she entered the building before driving out to join the busy road again. Meanwhile, inside the office, Tarila sat at her desk trying to work. But her mind kept going back to Kachi. She remembered the look in his eyes when the bank official spoke that morning. It broke her heart. She picked up a file from her desk and tried to read it, but her thoughts were far away. She imagined how Kachi might be feeling at that moment. Just 2 days ago, people respected him a lot. His name made things easy for him. People stood up when he walked in. Now, everything was gone in just 1 day. Tarila felt pain deep inside her heart, not because of the money, but because the man she truly loved was hurting badly. Her eyes became wet. Tears rolled down her face. She lowered her head for a moment. "Kachi," she whispered to herself. She imagined him driving around the city pretending to be strong while carrying so much pain inside him. That thought hurt her deeply. But after some moments, Tarila wiped her tears. Then she sat properly and looked ahead. She made a quiet promise to herself. She would stay strong for Kachi. That was what he needed now. Not another person crying beside him, not another person losing hope. He needed someone who would stand beside him until he could stand again. Tarila took a deep breath and pushed the thoughts away. Then she forced herself to focus on work. Hours later, evening finally came. Workers began leaving the company building one after another. Tarila packed her things and walked out through the main entrance. The sun was already going down. She brought out her phone, about to call Kachi. But before she could dial his number, she heard a horn nearby. She looked up immediately. It was her car. Kachi was already there waiting for her. Tarila stopped for a moment. For the first time since the weekend, she noticed something different on his face. A calm and warm smile. Not a big smile, but enough to show that he was trying. Kachi stepped out of the car. She walked closer. He collected her bag from her hand. and hugged her gently. "Hello, dear. How was work today?" he said with a smile. Then he opened the car door for her. Tarila looked at him quietly. Even with everything he was going through, he still found a way to care for her. That touched her deeply. A small smile appeared on her face. She wondered how Kachi still managed to make her smile even during such a difficult time. Tarila entered the car. Kachi closed the door and entered the driver's seat, and they drove out of the company premises. Weeks passed. A routine slowly formed in their lives. Every morning, Kachi would drive Tarila to her office. In the evening, he would return to pick her up and take her home. Day after day, it continued the same way. But while their daily life looked calm, something else was happening at Tarila's house. Tarila's landlord, Mr. Apoki, had started noticing something strange. He kept seeing Kachi in Tarila's apartment more often than before. At first, it did not make sense to him. He thought about the advances he had made toward Tarila some months ago. He had told her that if she agreed to be with him, she would never pay rent again. But Tarila had rejected him. She had told him clearly that she was already in a serious relationship, and the man she was in that relationship with was Mr. Kachi. Back then, Mr. Apochi stepped back because Mr. Kachi was a millionaire. There was no way to compete with that. But now, things looked different. Mr. Kachi used to come and pick her up in luxury cars. But recently, he kept seeing Kachi moving around Tarila's apartment like an ordinary man. This made him curious, so he made a few findings on his own. Soon, he discovered that Mr. Kachi had truly lost his business and his money. He now lived with Tarila and worked as an Uber driver. After discovering the truth, thoughts began to form in his mind. He started thinking again about Tarila, hoping this might be a good opportunity for him to get closer to her, especially now that her rent had been due for about a week. The next morning, Tarila and Kachi were getting ready for the day. Kachi had just come out of the bathroom. He was in the bedroom getting dressed. Tarila was in the living room when she heard a knock on the door. As she opened the door, it was Mr. Apochi. "Good morning, landlord," she greeted. "Good morning," Mr. Apochi responded. "I hope you understand that your rent is due. I have not received any payment from you yet. This is unlike you. You do not usually wait for me to remind you." Tarila took a breath. "I know, sir. I have not completed it yet. I will get my salary at the end of the month and pay every—" But Mr. Apochi cut in. "Why are you putting yourself through all these unnecessary difficulties? If you had agreed to be with me, we would not even be talking about rent right now." At that moment, Kachi stepped into the living room and overheard what they were saying. He stood there listening. Mr. Apochi continued, "I already promised to take care of you and let you stay in the apartment rent-free." He leaned a little forward, looking past her into the apartment where Kachi was standing. "But instead, you chose a man who has lost everything. A man who now drives people around, an Uber driver. And I don't even understand it," he continued. "A full-grown man staying in a woman's house, depending on you like that. Why would any man reduce himself like this?" Those words hit the room hard. Tarila's face changed at once. Her anger rose. "Enough," she said. "Don't you ever speak about my man like that." Mr. Apochi did not move away. "I am only saying what everyone can see," he replied. "A man like that has no future for you." That was the moment Tarila's voice became firm. "I said enough. My relationship is none of your business. I'm not interested in you. I never will be. And about the rent, I already told you. I will pay you at the end of the month." She gestured her hands forward, chasing him away. "Now leave." Mr. Apochi adjusted himself and walked away. Tarila closed the door. The sound echoed through the apartment. As she turned, she saw Kachi standing there, looking at her. But he did not say anything about what he had just witnessed. At least not yet. There was silence between them. He did not ask about what happened, and he did not react. But deep down, he knew it was another proof of her loyalty. Then Kachi looked at Tarila and asked, "Sweetheart, are you ready? Shall we go now?" "Yes, I'm ready," she said. They both left for work later that night. The day had ended, and the lights in the apartment were soft and calm. Kachi and Tarila had gone to bed. Tarila lay beside Kachi, already feeling sleepy after a long day. Then Kachi gently tapped her shoulder. "Sweetheart," he said. She opened her eyes and turned toward him. She saw his face. Something was different. He looked serious. Tarila immediately sat up. "Babe, why are you still awake? You look worried." "Is anything the matter?" she asked. Kachi took a moment before speaking. "I heard what the landlord said about the rent this morning." Tarila looked down for a moment. Kachi went on. "I know you were trying not to bother me. That is why you did not tell me." He paused. "But I feel bad that you had to carry it alone." Tarila looked at him again. "Babe," she said quietly. "I'm sorry I did not tell you. I did not want to add more pressure on you. I know what you're going through right now." Kachi listened carefully. Then he asked, "How much is left for the rent?" Tarila told him the amount. Kachi thought for a moment. Then he spoke. "I have up to that amount." Tarila looked at him in surprise. Kachi continued, "I've been saving little by little from what I earn every day. I can give you the money now. So you can settle it now." Tarila quickly shook her head. "No, babe. You need that money more than I do. I will pay it when my salary comes." Kachi tried again. "I really want to do it. Like you said, we're in this together." Tarila held his hand. "I know," she said, "but please keep it. It is not time to use your savings like that." There was silence again. Kachi looked at her closely. He could see how firm she was. "Babe," she said softly, "everything will be fine. We are going to be okay." Those words stayed between them. Kachi did not speak again. He just held her hand. After a while, Tarila rested her head on his shoulder. Kachi placed his arm around her. In that quiet room, both of them stayed like that for a long time. Inside that room, something deeper was forming. A silent promise that no matter what life brought next, they would not face it alone. Slowly, their eyes closed, and they both fell asleep holding on to each other. 2 months passed. Life began to feel steady for Kachi and Tarila. Every day followed the same pattern. Kachi would drive Tarila to work in the morning. In the evening, he would return to pick her up. One Saturday morning, the house was quiet. Tarila was in the living room. Kachi was in the bedroom getting ready to go out. Then there was a knock on the door. Tarila walked over and opened it. Her face changed immediately. It was her mother, Mrs. Boma. "Mom, you didn't tell me you were coming," Tarila said, surprised. Mrs. Boma smiled a little. "I wanted to surprise you," she said. Tarila became nervous. She stepped aside to let her in. Mrs. Boma narrowed her eyes. "What is going on? Are you not happy to see me?" "You look nervous," Mrs. Boma said. Before Tarila could answer, she heard movement from the hallway. Kachi was walking out of the bedroom. Mrs. Boma turned her head and saw him. He was dressed simply, ready to go out. Tarila quickly straightened herself. She knew her mother had already seen him. "What is this?" Mrs. Boma asked sharply. "Tarila, what is a man doing inside your apartment?" Tarila tried to speak. "Mom, it's not like that." Just then, Kachi stepped in but stopped suddenly when he saw the elderly woman. Tarila quickly turned to Kachi. "Babe, this is my mum," she said. Then she turned to her mother. "Mom, this is Kachi, the man I told you about." Kachi greeted her politely. "Good morning, Ma. It is nice to finally meet you, Ma," he said with a smile. "Your daughter and I were already planning to come and visit you." But Mrs. Boma did not respond. Her eyes stayed fixed on him. As Kachi left the house, there was a brief silence between Tarila and her mother. Then Mrs. Boma turned to Tarila. "Start talking," she said. "What is going on here?" Tarila took a breath. That is Kachi, the man I want to marry. I already told you about him. But he lost his business recently. He went bankrupt. We are just trying to rebuild things. Mrs. Boma listened, but her face stayed serious. Tarila continued. He's working now. He's trying to raise money to rebuild his business. Mrs. Boma said nothing. She stopped asking questions. She knew her daughter. Once Tarila made up her mind, it was not easy to change it. That evening, Kachi returned home. He entered the living room and saw Mrs. Boma sitting there. The air felt heavy. He greeted her. "Good evening, Ma." She did not reply. She only looked at him. After a long pause, she spoke. "Kachi, or whatever you call yourself, why are you staying in my daughter's house?" Kachi sat down across from her. "I'm sorry if this has caused any inconvenience. Believe me, Ma, this is just a temporary situation." Mrs. Boma stood up immediately. Her voice became louder. "I've heard many stories," she said. "Women standing by men, suffering with them, believing in them, and when the man finally gets rich, he forgets everything and leaves them behind." She pointed at Kachi. "My daughter is not getting any younger. She cannot sit down and waste her life with uncertainty. She cannot settle for a man who has nothing and no clear future." Kachi lifted his head and spoke calmly. "Ma, I understand your concern. I know that any parent who truly cares about their child would feel the same way. But I will not do that to Tarila. I love your daughter very much, and I promise to do well by her." Mrs. Boma stared at him for a moment and let out a loud hiss. Then she turned and walked out of the living room, heading straight into Tarila's room. Her voice filled the space when she entered the room. "So, this is the man you want to build your future with?" Tarila tried to speak. "Mom, he's working hard." But Mrs. Boma cut her off. "Working hard? Did you not say he is an Uber driver? A man who is using your car as a taxi, he does not even have his own car. Is that the man you're waiting for?" She walked around the room in anger. "You will be 30 in a month. Tell me, how long do you plan to wait for him? And if he keeps driving that taxi, how long will it take him to save enough money to start anything serious? And even if he starts something, what is the chance it will succeed?" The questions came one after the other, heavy and hard. Tarila took a deep breath. "I believe God will help him," she said quietly. "He is trying his best. He is saving money." Mrs. Boma shook her head. "No," she said firmly. "I want a man who can build a future for you and my grandchildren. Not someone whose life is still uncertain." She stopped for a moment, then her voice dropped, but her decision was strong. "I'm leaving this house tomorrow. I cannot sit here and watch this anymore. I will go back home and tell your father. Maybe he will be the one to talk some sense into you." In the living room, Kachi had heard everything. Her voice was loud. Kachi stayed very still. His head went down. He didn't say a word. That night, no one spoke again. Not Kachi, not Tarila. The house remained quiet. The next morning, Mrs. Boma woke up early. She barely spoke to anyone. Tarila tried to calm her down before she left, but her mother refused to listen. "I've made my position clear. I will never support this arrangement, and you will be hearing from your father," Mrs. Boma said. A few minutes later, she picked up her bag and walked out of the room. When she got to the living room, Kachi, who had slept on the couch the night before, was surprised. "Good morning, Ma. Why are you with your bags, Ma?" he asked. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble or inconvenience. I can leave if you want me to, but please don't leave like this." Mrs. Boma looked at him for a moment, said nothing, and continued walking out of the apartment in anger. The door closed behind her. The house became silent again. Tarila stood in her room for a moment, then she turned around. Her heart was heavy. The night before had affected everyone. Tarila walked quietly toward the living room. Kachi, who was now seated on the couch, had one arm resting on his chin. It was clear he did not sleep well. Tarila stood there, looking at him. Then she moved closer and touched his shoulder. "Kachi," she called. Kachi looked up. His face looked tired and sad. The words from the night before were still heavy inside him. Tarila could see it clearly. She sat beside him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Tarila broke the silence. "Kachi, I'm sorry about yesterday." Kachi looked at her. "My mum was just being overprotective," she continued. "She was just worried about me." Kachi lowered his eyes. "No," he said. "I should be the one apologizing for putting you through all this. You and your mother had an argument, and it was all because of me." Tarila stopped him immediately. "No," she said firmly. "None of this is your fault." She sat beside him. Then she held his hand. "Kachi, listen to me. I love you, and I believe in you." Kachi looked at her face. Tarila continued, "Do not give up on yourself. You are trying. That is what matters." She squeezed his hand gently. "And even if the business you start one day does not work out, we will still be fine. I am also working. There will still be enough for us to build a family with. You don't have to be a billionaire before we can build a family." Those words entered Kachi's heart deeply. He looked away for a moment. His eyes became wet with tears. He was overwhelmed with emotion, not because of his condition. No, not at all. After all, the condition was never real, but because he could hardly believe that this kind of love truly existed. At that moment, he realized that this woman would stay with him no matter the situation. The next morning, everything continued as normal. Kachi drove Tarila to work as usual. After dropping her off, he drove away and joined the traffic. After a while, he turned into a road he had not used in a long time. After a long drive, he finally arrived at the gate. The gate of his house. The same house everybody believed the bank had taken from him. The gatekeeper rushed to open the gate. "Welcome, sir," he greeted respectfully. Kachi drove inside quietly. He parked the car and stepped down. Then he walked toward the main door. He brought out his keys from his pocket. The same keys people believed no longer belonged to him. He unlocked the door and entered the house. The house was silent, very silent. Kachi stood in the middle of the living room and looked around. Then he spoke under his breath. "I don't need any more proof," he said. He took a few steps forward. Then his face became serious. "It is time to tell her the truth." Kachi walked upstairs into his bedroom. His steps became slower as many thoughts entered his mind. He stopped in front of his closet. Then he opened it. Inside one part of the shelf was a small hidden compartment. Kachi reached inside and brought out a small ring box. The moment he saw it, old memories returned to him. Many months earlier, Kachi had attended an alumni hangout with his old university course mates. It was their usual yearly gathering. Most of the men came with their wives. People laughed and ate together, shared stories about business, marriage, and children. That day, Kachi had gone there feeling very happy. He had bought a ring for Tarila a day before the reunion. He had planned to propose to her that same week. He even imagined how she would smile when he finally popped the question. But something happened that night. One of Kachi's old friends came alone. His wife was not with him. That was strange, because any time they came for alumni gatherings, he always came with his wife. Everyone knew his wife loved him deeply. This was a relationship that had started many years ago, back when they were all still in the university. Back then, when they were still dating, people admired the love they shared. They were always together, and even after graduation, they remained committed to each other. Now Kachi stared at the man, wondering why he had come to the reunion alone. People believed this was a match made in heaven. So, out of curiosity, Kachi walked over to him during the gathering. They greeted each other and bumped shoulders with excitement as they usually did. "Where is your wife?" Kachi asked with a smile. The moment he asked, the man's expression changed. The smile on his face disappeared. For some seconds, the man did not speak. Then he finally answered. "She left me." Kachi became confused. "What do you mean by she left you? Left you to where? What happened?" The man gave a weak laugh filled with pain. "I had a financial problem. My business crashed," he said. "I lost almost everything. I kept trying to get back on my feet. I was looking for ways to recover, but things became harder by the day. That difficult time caused a strain in our marriage." He looked down for a moment and continued. "After some time, she changed. She started behaving differently. It was as though my presence irritated her. Mutual respect was gone. She complained about everything I did. In fact, it was so bad that I expected she would complain about the way I breathed," the man said with a sad smile on his face. Kachi stayed quiet as he listened. The man continued. "One day she packed her things. She left with our child. She left me in the lowest moment of my life," the man said, tears now in his eyes. Kachi placed his hand on the man's shoulder and breathed in deeply. Then the man said something else. "Later, after the divorce, I found out she got married to one of my business rivals." He gave a painful smile again. "Imagine waking up every day knowing your only child is now living with a stranger, all because the woman you loved gave up on you during hard times." Kachi could not believe it, because he knew the couple very well. He knew how they started. He knew how long they had been together. Every year during alumni gatherings, they looked happy together. But now, everything had scattered because of one hard season in life. Kachi looked at his friend that night and saw real pain. A broken man sitting in front of him. He tried his best to console his friend. But what he heard that night changed his views about love and relationships. When he got home, he could not stop thinking. The engagement ring he had bought was in his closet, but fear had entered his heart. Marriage suddenly became scary. He sat alone in his room for hours, thinking deeply. He knew Tarila very well. She had always been kind to him, patient, peaceful, loving. He had never seen any reason to doubt her, but the words of his friend also stayed in his mind. Imagine waking up every day, knowing your only child is living with strangers, all because the woman you loved left you during hard times. Kachi could not forget those words, but another question kept coming into his mind again and again. What if there was no money? What if success was gone? What if everything he built disappeared one day? Would Tarila still stay with him? Would she still love him? That question refused to leave his thoughts. That night he stood up and walked to his closet. Then he brought out the same ring box. He looked at it for a very long time and placed it in the small compartment at the shelf. That was the night he decided to delay the proposal and created another plan instead. A risky plan. He decided to pretend he had lost everything. He wanted to know Tarila's true heart before marrying her, and that was how everything started. The fake bankruptcy, the fake loss of properties, the fake struggle. For all those months, Kachi had been pretending. Now as he sat there in his house, he looked at the ring box in his hand. Then thoughts of Tarila filled his mind. How she allowed him stay in her apartment without complaining. How she had remained strong for him and done everything to support him. How she rejected the advances of her landlord, even when she believed I could not offer her anything. And even more than that, she defended him in front of her mother, her own mother. Kachi closed his eyes slowly. At that moment, he knew he needed no more proof. He knew Tarila was not the one to leave in a difficult time. Right there, where Kachi was seated, he whispered to himself quietly, "It is time to tell her the truth." But he also worried about one thing. Would she forgive me when she discovered I had lied to her? Would she forgive me when she discovered I had doubted her love? Later that evening, Tarila stepped out of her office building. She brought out her phone and called Kachi. When he picked, he said, "Look to your right." As she turned, she saw him waving from inside a car, but something looked strange. The car Kachi came with was not her car, yet something about it felt familiar. She walked closer and said, "I know this car." At that moment, Kachi came out of the car. He opened the door for her and took her bag. "Please get in," he said. Tarila sat inside the car and looked around again. Then it hit her. This was Kachi's newest car before they moved out of his house. The same car she believed the bank had taken away. She turned fast and looked at him. "How did you get your car back?" she asked. Kachi held the steering wheel for a moment before answering. "It is a long story," he said. "We will talk when we get home." Tarila stared at him, still confused, but said nothing more. Kachi started driving, but instead of taking the road that leads to Tarila's home, he turned to another road. Tarila looked at him. "That is not our way home. Where are we going?" she asked. Kachi replied, "Please just stay calm. I will explain everything to you." The car kept moving. After some time, they arrived at a large gate. It was the house, Kachi's house. The gatekeeper opened it and greeted Kachi and Tarila respectfully. Tarila became even more confused. "I thought," she said under her breath. Kachi drove inside and stopped. She noticed that all the cars were still in the compound. Everything else was still the same. She kept looking around, wondering what was going on as they walked toward the entrance of the house. In the living room, Tarila stood still, looking around like someone trying to make sense of a dream. Kachi gestured for her to sit. "Please sit," he said. Tarila sat, but her voice rose. "What is going on here?" Kachi stood up, walked to the couch where she was seated, and sat beside her. He took a long breath. "I have something to tell you," he said. Tarila cut him off. "Just say it already." Kachi lowered his head and began. He told her about the alumni hangout he attended months back. He told her about a friend he met there. He told her about the story the man shared with him that night. "That story stayed with me, and it changed how I see relationships, love, and marriage," he said. I started asking myself, what if I lose everything too? What if all the success disappears? And the person I love, will she still stay? He paused for a moment, then continued. "That is when I made a plan. I decided to pretend to have lost everything. I wanted to see if what we share could stand difficult times." Tarila's face changed immediately, but Kachi did not stop. He continued speaking, his voice now full of emotion. "But what I saw from you shocked me. You did not leave me. You stood by me. You defended me in front of everyone. You defended me in front of your mother. You gave me shelter. You even gave me your car so I could work and have a chance to rebuild my life again." Kachi looked at her. "And through all of that, you never changed. You still cared. You still believed in me. You showed me love when you thought I had nothing." Silence filled the room. But Tarila was raging. Then something inside her broke. She stood up immediately. Her face carried shock, pain, and disbelief all at once. She looked at him like she was searching for words, but none came. She walked toward the door as if she was going to leave. But she stopped. She turned back. "So all these months you've been lying to me because you were insecure," she said. Her voice was heavy with anger. Kachi stood up fast and moved closer. "I'm truly sorry," he said. But Tarila raised her hand and stopped him from speaking more. "I don't want to hear that word from you," she said. "Do you even understand what you have done? For months you were pretending? And you never stopped to think how I would feel if I found out." Her voice began to shake. "Do you know what I went through emotionally, thinking that my man was genuinely suffering? Do you know how many times I received queries at my office because I was finding it difficult to concentrate?" Tears started forming in her eyes. Her voice broke as she continued. "And all this time, it was based on lies." Tears began to fall freely. She wiped them, but they kept coming. Then she said, "No, I don't think I can do this anymore." She turned and walked toward the door again. Kachi moved fast. He grabbed her hand. Then he dropped to his knees. "Please," he said, "don't leave me." His voice was broken. Tears filled his eyes. "I am sorry. I'm truly sorry. I can't function without you." Tarila looked down at him. Then her eyes shifted toward the window. She saw her car still parked inside the compound. Her expression changed. She turned back sharply. "Where is my car key?" she asked. Kachi lowered his head as he continued begging, but Tarila raised her voice. "I said give me my car keys." Kachi reached into his pocket with shaking hands and brought out the keys. He placed them in her hand. She took them without another word. She walked to the door. Then she stopped for a moment. She turned and looked at him one last time. Then she left. She got into her car and drove out of the house. Inside the house, Kachi remained on his knees. His voice came out broken. "What have I done?" That night, Tarila cried until her eyes became heavy. She lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Every time she closed her eyes, she visualized everything that had happened. It was all a test. Those words kept hurting her deeply. The next morning, Tarila emailed her office, requesting an emergency 1-week sick leave. She could not go to work. She was too sad and emotional to do so. She locked herself inside the house. At first, she thought about calling her mother, but after remembering the things her mother said before she left the last time she visited, she changed her mind. Then she remembered her friend, Ezichi. Tarila picked up her phone and called her. The moment Ezichi heard her voice, she became worried. "Tarila, what is wrong?" Tarila tried to speak, but her voice broke. "Can you come over, please?" Ezichi stood up immediately from where she was seated. "I am coming right now," she said. "Please come with a few clothes. I need you to stay with me for a few days," Tarila said. After about an hour, there was a knock on the door. Tarila opened it. The moment Ezichi stepped inside and saw her face, her expression changed. "Tarila!" Both of them sat in the living room. Ezichi held her hand. What happened? That question broke the little strength Tarila still had left. She burst into tears again. Ezichi pulled her close immediately. "It's okay. Please talk to me." Tarila tried to calm herself. She wiped her face many times. Finally, she opened her mouth to speak, but before she could say anything, another knock came at the door. Both of them looked toward it. Then a voice came from outside. "It's me, Kachi. Tarila, please let's talk." Ezichi looked at Tarila immediately. Tarila's face turned hard with anger. That look alone told Ezichi something serious had happened. Ezichi stood up and walked to the door. She opened it halfway. Kachi stood outside. His face looked tired. "Kachi," Ezichi said carefully. "Tarila does not want to talk right now." Kachi greeted her politely. "Please, help me talk to her." "She won't listen to me." Ezichi looked at him for a moment. Then she closed the door quietly. She returned to Tarila and sat beside her again. Ezichi knew how much both of them loved each other. She also knew Kachi had been staying with Tarila for some time, so she could not understand what could have caused such a serious problem between them. "What happened between both of you?" she asked. Tarila looked down. Then she finally told her everything, how Kachi came to pick her up from work, how he took her to the house, how he confessed that everything had been a lie, how he only pretended to lose everything because he wanted to test her love. Ezichi stayed quiet for some seconds. Then she spoke. What he did was wrong. Very wrong. Ezichi pulled her into her arms. Outside the apartment, Kachi stayed beside his car. His eyes remained on the door. Hours passed, but he did not leave. After some time, he walked back to the door and knocked again. This time, Tarila answered from inside. "Who is it?" "It's me," Kachi replied. "Please open the door." Tarila answered from inside immediately. "What else do you want from me, Kachi?" she shouted. "Have you not done enough already? I don't want to see you again. Please just leave." Kachi stood quietly outside the door, still begging. A few seconds later, Ezichi came outside. She looked at him with pity. "Kachi, maybe you should go for today. Come back another time. I believe she needs time." Kachi lowered his head. "Okay." He turned and walked slowly back to his car. The next day, Kachi came back again, and the day after that too. Every single day that week, he kept showing up at her door, but Tarila still refused to see him. The pain inside her was still too much. Ezici kept talking to her. At least hear him out. Yes, he lied, but you know he loves you. Still, Tarila refused. Then one afternoon, Kachi drove into the compound again. As he stepped out of the car, he saw Ezici coming out of the apartment dressed for work. He rushed toward her. "Please, is Tarila inside?" Ezici answered, "Yes." Kachi hurried to the door and knocked. Inside the house, Tarila heard his voice immediately, but she stayed silent. Outside, Ezici looked back at Kachi before leaving. For the first time, she truly saw how broken he looked. The guilt was all over his face. Kachi stayed at the door. "Tarila, please. I know you are inside. I know you are angry. But please, let me explain myself. Please give me one chance to talk to you, to see your face." Still, there was no answer. Kachi rested his forehead against the door. Then he made up his mind. He was not leaving until he saw her. He sat down beside the door. Time passed. Afternoon came. Sometimes he stood up and knocked again. Still silence. Evening came. Kachi remained there. Night came too. Around 8 p.m. the compound gate opened. Ezici returned home. She became surprised when she saw Kachi's car still parked outside. As she moved closer, she saw him sitting beside the door. The moment Kachi saw her, he stood up immediately. "Please help me beg her," he said. "I know I hurt her badly, but I truly love her." Ezici looked at him carefully. Then she said, "I will talk to her." Inside the living room, Ezici sat beside Tarila. "Tarila," she said gently, "what he did was wrong. I know, but at least talk to him once." Tarila stayed quiet. The next morning, Ezici got ready for work. As she opened the door, she was startled by what she saw. Right there on the veranda beside the door, Kachi was sleeping on the floor. He had spent the whole night there. Ezici covered her mouth in shock. Then she hurried back inside. "Tarila, come and see this." Tarila walked out slowly. The moment she saw Kachi lying there, sleeping on the floor, her expression changed. Ezici looked at her. "Look at him. He stayed here all night, exposed to mosquitoes and the cold. It shows he's truly sorry. What else do you want him to do?" After saying that, Ezici left for work a little upset. Tarila stood at the door, looking at him and thinking deeply. At first, she was angry. Then she remembered how hurt she felt. But little by little, she also started thinking about Kachi. She remembered how he treated her before all this happened, how he cared for her, how he never hurt her before this mistake. She remembered how afraid he sounded the night he confessed at his house. And right now, he was out there at her door, sleeping on the bare floor. Her heart began softening. Tarila walked around the room for some time. Finally, she stopped. Then she walked outside. Kachi was still there asleep. She moved closer and touched him. Kachi opened his eyes immediately. The moment he saw her, he stood up fast. "Sweetheart, please forgive me." But Tarila stopped him. "Come inside first," she said. Kachi followed her quietly into the house. Both of them sat facing each other in the living room. For the first time since that day, Tarila spoke calmly. "What you did hurt me badly. Very badly." Kachi lowered his eyes. "I know. And I accept my mistake. I'm truly sorry. Of course, nothing like this will ever repeat itself again." Tarila stayed quiet for some seconds. Then finally she spoke. "I forgive you." Kachi looked at her immediately. He moved closer and sat beside her. He held her hands. "I promise you," he said, "I will never do something like this again." After that day of reconciliation, Kachi began planning something special for Tarila. Unknown to her, it was not just an ordinary gathering, but an expensive proposal party filled with close friends and loved ones. When she arrived, everything felt warm and joyful, but she still didn't fully understand the reason behind the celebration. It wasn't until Kachi finally stepped forward and popped the question that the purpose of the event became clear. Overwhelmed with emotion, Tarila happily accepted his proposal. Immediately after, Kachi surprised her again. He presented her with a brand new SUV he had carefully chosen for her. 2 months later, their love story reached another beautiful milestone as they celebrated their wedding in grand style, surrounded by family and friends. Hello, wonderful viewers. Thank you so much for spending your time on my channel today. I truly hope this story touched your heart and gave you something meaningful to think about. One important lesson from this story is that true love is not tested during comfort and success, but during difficult moments. Real loyalty is revealed when life becomes uncertain. At the same time, this story also reminds us that trust is very important in every relationship. Love can survive hardship, but lies and deception can deeply hurt the people we care about most. What do you think about Kachi's decision to test Tarila's love? Do you believe Tarila was right to feel hurt after discovering the truth? I would really love to hear your thoughts, so please share your opinion in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this story and would love to watch more stories like this on our channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you'll be among the first to know when the next story is uploaded. And if you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like and share it with your friends and loved ones. It truly helps the channel grow. Thank you once again for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you. See you in the next story.